Former Wallaby Greg Martin has ignited fresh debate on both sides of the Tasman after suggesting that Scott Robertson would have been better suited to coaching Australia than leading New Zealand. In a candid interview, Martin argued that Robertson's personality, coaching style, and overall approach may align more naturally with the Wallabies' environment than with the intense expectations that surround the All Blacks. That Robertson's tenure as All Blacks head coach came to an abrupt end in January, when New Zealand Rugby opted to terminate his contract midway through what had been planned as a 4-year cycle. Despite boasting a respectable 74% win rate, the governing body reportedly felt uneasy about the team's direction and long-term trajectory. The decision stunned many observers, given Robertson's glittering domestic record and the lofty hopes that accompanied his appointment. Now, as New Zealand Rugby searches for a new head coach to lead the All Blacks toward the 2027 Rugby World Cup, Martin believes the Crusaders' legend may have been in the wrong job all along, a different fit across the Tasman. Speaking on DSBN with Martin Devlin, Martin made it clear that he holds Robertson in high regard. However, he questioned whether the former Crusaders boss was the right cultural fit for the uniquely demanding All Blacks environment. New Zealand standards are far higher than Australian rugby standards, Martin said. I know we've gone through a lot of coaches. We keep changing the coach, but is it the coach's fault? It was a striking admission from a former Wallaby. For years, Australian rugby has battled inconsistency at the international level, cycling through multiple head coaches in search of stability and success. Yet Martin suggested that while Australia's standards may not match New Zealand's relentless intensity, that very difference could have worked in Robertson's favor. I love Razor. He loves Australia, Martin added. I would love to have him over here. I wish he could coach Australia, because I reckon his attitude would suit Australian rugby more than it suits All Black rugby. Martin even issued a playful public invitation to the recently dismissed coach. Razor, if you hear anything of this, come on over, mate. We actually need you. High expectations in black coaching the All Blacks is widely regarded as one of the most demanding jobs in world sport. The side's identity is built on sustained excellence, and anything short of dominance often triggers scrutiny. Even a 74% win rate can be deemed insufficient if performances lack the authority or upward trajectory expected of New Zealand's flagship team. Robertson stepped into the role following Ian Foster's tenure, bringing with him a formidable reputation built at the Crusaders. During his time in Super Rugby, he won multiple titles and cultivated a dynamic, expressive brand of rugby. His celebratory breakdancing routines after championship victories became symbolic of his energetic and unconventional style. However, reports later suggested that Robertson's personality appeared to change after assuming the All Blacks job. The shift from provincial success to the unforgiving glare of international rugby may have altered his demeanor. The pressure to uphold the All Blacks legacy, combined with relentless public and media scrutiny, seemed to demand a different version of Razor. According to Martin, that transformation may have hindered Robertson's natural strength, a more relaxed Australian environment. Martin believes that Australia's rugby culture, while certainly competitive, operates with a comparatively relaxed tone. It is a bit more chill than Australia, he explained. The guy's a surfer. One of his favorite things is coming to Australia and going surfing, and that's an attitude. For Martin, surfing is more than a hobby. It represents a mindset, balance, freedom, and the ability to switch off from intensity when the work is done. Surfing's not just a physical thing. It's an attitude, and it suits Australia more than the intensity and earnestness of New Zealand rugby, he said. The implication is clear. While New Zealand rugby is defined by seriousness and an almost uncompromising pursuit of perfection, Australia might allow Robertson to express himself more authentically. Martin even suggested that Robertson's free-spirited nature makes him feel more Aussie than Kiwi. You guys take yourself far too seriously, whereas Razor was breakdancing after winning championships, he remarked, contrasting the All Blacks' traditional gravitas with Robertson's playful edge. In Martin's view, Australia would embrace that personality rather than demand it be tempered. Timing and transition. The timing of Martin's comments is intriguing. Rugby Australia is itself on the cusp of change. Joe Schmidt is set to leave his role as Wallabies head coach in July, paving the way for Les Kiss to step into the hot seat in 2026. While Martin acknowledged that Kiss will get his opportunity, he could not help but imagine an alternative scenario in which Robertson crossed the Tasman Sea to take charge of the Wallabies. Australia has endured years of coaching upheaval, struggling to rediscover the consistency that once made the Wallabies world champions and perennial contenders. For Martin, the issue may not lie solely with the coach, but with the broader system and expectations placed upon them. His suggestion that Robertson might flourish in Australia is less a criticism of Kiss or Schmidt and more a commentary on cultural fit. The All Blacks' next move, meanwhile, New Zealand Rugby, faces the significant task of appointing Robertson's successor. The next head coach will be entrusted with restoring confidence and steering the All Blacks toward the 2027 Rugby World Cup. Two names have emerged as frontrunners: Jamie Joseph and Dave Rennie. Both bring considerable experience and strong reputations. Joseph is admired for his hard-edged, forward-oriented philosophy. His teams are typically well-drilled, combative, and tactically astute. Rennie, meanwhile, boasts international experience and a proven track record at Super Rugby level. Despite praising both candidates, Martin made his preference clear. "I would have said Jamie Joseph. I always prefer a forward to be coaching teams. He has a hard-nosed attitude." He said that IT is a viewpoint rooted in traditional rugby thinking, where forward dominance is often seen as the foundation of sustained success. What went wrong? Robertson's sacking inevitably raises questions about what constitutes success in New Zealand rugby. A 74% win record would be celebrated in many nations. Yet in New Zealand, where the All Blacks' historical win rate hovers around the same mark, expectations extend beyond mere statistics. Performance trajectory, style of play, player development, and the perceived direction of the program all factor into assessments. If administrators believed the team was stagnating or regressing, they may have felt compelled to act decisively. For Robertson, the challenge was not only tactical but cultural. Leading the Crusaders allowed him to shape a provincial environment with relative autonomy. Coaching the All Blacks required navigating entrenched traditions, heightened media scrutiny, and the symbolic weight of the black jersey. Martin's argument suggests that in Australia, Robertson may have encountered a landscape more conducive to experimentation and expressive leadership. A tale of two rugby cultures at its core. This debate highlights the contrasting rugby cultures of New Zealand and Australia. New Zealand's rugby identity is steeped in legacy and continuity. Success is expected, and deviations from established standards are met with immediate analysis. Coaches operate under intense pressure, with little margin for prolonged transition. Australia, while historically successful, has experienced fluctuating fortunes in recent years. The pressure remains significant, but the broader sporting landscape, dominated by multiple football codes, creates a different dynamic. Rugby union competes for attention, which can temper expectations relative to New Zealand's singular rugby obsession. An opportunity missed? Ultimately, Robertson's future remains uncertain. Whether he returns to provincial coaching, pursues another international role, or takes time away from the game, his reputation as an innovative and successful coach endures. Martin's comments may be speculative, but they invite reflection on the importance of cultural alignment in high-performance sport. Success is not solely about tactics or win percentages. It also depends on whether a coach's personality and philosophy mesh with the environment they inhabit. For now, the All Blacks look ahead to a new era under different leadership, while the Wallabies prepare for their own transition when Schmidt departs and Kiss assumes control. Greg Martin certainly thinks so.